You ever notice how the gym is packed in January and then completely empty by March? That isn't a fitness problem, it's a failure of strategy and mindset. The same exact catastrophe plays out with your money every single year. You set massive financial resolutions. I'm going to save $10,000. I'm going to crush my debt. I'm finally going to invest. And by February, you've failed and retreated to the same old comfort zone. Today, I'm Kyle, and I'm breaking down the psychological traps and fundamental strategic mistakes that guarantee your New Year's financial goals will collapse. This isn't about willpower, it's about wiring your system for inevitable success. If you stay until the end, I will give you the 3-step framework that turns empty promises into a non-negotiable financial trajectory, making your success a matter of when, not if. You need to stop relying on motivation and start building a fortress. The core problem is the resolution fallacy. You treat January 1st like a magical starting line, believing that sheer temporal significance can overcome years of entrenched bad habits. It can't. You need to understand that financial failure is rarely about income, it's about identity and inertia. You're currently operating with a financial identity that aligns with debt, scarcity, and procrastination, and one resolution isn't enough to shatter that. You're trying to build a mansion on a swamp of poor decision-making and vague intentions. Think about it. You spend 364 days perfecting the habit of impulse buying, and then one night you declare it gone? That is an insult to the power of compound habits. What matters isn't the grand goal, but the microscopic decision you make with the next dollar that enters your possession. You must stop seeing money as something you spend and start seeing it as a tool you deploy.
Let's talk numbers, because the vagueness of your goals is your enemy. Most people set a goal like, I want to be better with money. That is a worthless statement. It's an intellectual placeholder for not doing the work. True financial change requires the SMRT framework, but amplified and ruthlessly applied. You need to identify the exact, concrete number that represents your pain point. Is it $4,500 in credit card debt? Is it a 12% savings rate that should be 20%? The general public operates on hope and emotion. The wealthy operate on spreadsheets and non-negotiable milestones. The reason your resolutions fail is because they are hopes, not commands. You need to replace the emotional, I hope I save, with the mechanical, I will automate 25% of my income into a high-yield account on the first of every month. That specificity is your shield against the temptation of the moment. The wealthy operate on the leverage principle, while the rest of the world relies on the effort principle. You think you need to hustle harder. They know they need to think differently. You are looking at your expenses and asking, how can I cut my $7 daily coffee? They're looking at their investments and asking, how can I make my money work harder than I do? This is the fundamental mindset shift. Stop optimizing for cost and start optimizing for return. Your time is worth more than the $7 you save on coffee. You need to reallocate that energy toward building a side hustle that generates an extra $700 a month. The first principle you need to adopt is asymmetrical effort. Focus your limited energy on the 20% of actions that will generate 80% of your financial results.
The second critical framework is future self financial forcing. You are not making decisions for the you right now. You are making decisions for the you 6 months, 5 years, and 20 years from now. If you don't save $100 today, you're not just missing out on $100, you're robbing your future self of the $1,000 that $100 would compound into. This requires a radical mental shift where you view your savings as a commitment to a valued future person, not a deprivation for your current self. This is why automation is non-negotiable. You need to remove your current unreliable self from the equation entirely. Set up automatic transfers the day your paycheck lands. This makes saving the default action and spending the active and therefore more difficult choice. The third principle is compounding small wins. You try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week and predictably burn out. Instead, you need to use the power of the financial micro-habit. Financial success is not built on one massive lottery win. It is the inevitable consequence of 1,000 tiny correct decisions. Think about debt. Don't try to pay off the entire $20,000 at once. Focus on the debt snowball or avalanche, paying off one small debt first to generate momentum and a psychological win, then rolling that payment into the next. This creates a chain reaction of success. Each small win, paying off a credit card, hitting a $1,000 emergency fund target, rewires your brain and validates your new, disciplined financial identity. It's about building a sequence of small tactical victories.
Now for the actionable strategies. You are going to adopt the 70-20-10 allocation rule, but with a twist. This is your immediate action plan. You need to immediately allocate 70% of your net income to your core living expenses, housing, food, transportation. The non-negotiable 20% goes straight to aggressive savings and debt repayment, auto-transferred. And the final 10% is allocated to a high-growth investment vehicle, like a low-cost ETF. Here is the trick. You do not touch or budget the 70%. You simply live within it. If you need to cut expenses, you cut them from that 70%. You do not touch the 20% or 10%. This removes the endless, exhausting micro-budgeting. You focus your willpower on allocation once, not deprivation constantly. Let's talk about accelerating your income, because cutting lattes only gets you so far. Financial freedom is achieved through income acceleration, not expense reduction. Your immediate strategy should be to identify 3 high-value skills you could acquire in the next 90 days that increase your earning potential. Stop saying, "I don't have time." You have time for social media. You have time to acquire a skill like data analysis, advanced copywriting, or high-value sales. Start a side hustle that leverages that new skill. Your resolution should not be save $5,000, but generate an extra $450 a month from a leveraged side income. When you earn more, your allocation buckets grow proportionally, making success geometrically faster. You must treat your income ceiling as a temporary, non-permanent fixture. The biggest hidden trap is lifestyle creep, and it silently murders every resolution. You get a raise, you immediately upgrade your car, your apartment, and your subscriptions. The result? You're making more, but you are not wealthier. To combat this, you need to implement the 75% rule for raises. When you receive a raise or bonus, you immediately allocate 75% of that net increase to your 20% savings/debt bucket and your 10% investment bucket. Only 25% of the increase is allowed to be used for lifestyle upgrades. This ensures that every time your income increases, your wealth gap increases exponentially faster than your spending. You must be aggressive in this tactic, or you will find yourself in the exact same financial position 5 years from now, just with more expensive problems. Here is your 90-day financial rewire roadmap. This is not a suggestion, it is your command structure. Day 1 through 30, damage assessment and automation. Identify all your debt, automate the 70-20-10 allocation on your next paycheck, and set up your high-yield savings account. Day 31 through 60, skill acquisition and income generation. Dedicate 60 minutes a day to learning the high-value skill you identified in P8. Launch the minimal viable side hustle that utilizes that skill, even if it only brings in $100. Day 61 through 90, leverage and review.
Take that side hustle income and invest 90% of it immediately. Review your monthly budget for the 70% bucket and find one recurring expense that is not essential to your happiness and eliminate it. At the 90-day mark, you will have a new system, a new income stream, and undeniable proof that you are now the author of your financial life.
The 5 catastrophic errors that will absolutely derail your progress must be avoided at all costs. First, the all-or-nothing mentality. Missing one day's budget doesn't mean you scrap the entire year. Re-engage immediately. Second, confusing saving with investing. Saving is for short-term goals. Investing is for long-term wealth. They are separate buckets. Third, checking your portfolio daily. This leads to emotional selling. Set it and forget it, reviewing quarterly. Fourth, trying to time the market. It's impossible. Consistently contributing is the only winning strategy. Fifth, relying on credit card rewards to justify spending. You are not winning if you spend $100 to get back $2. The only thing that matters is your net worth, not your point balance. You must recognize these landmines before they explode and stop you dead in your tracks. So, let's bring it all back. Financial resolutions fail because they are built on hope and emotion, not system and automation. The formula is simple and absolute. Mindset shift plus automation plus income acceleration equals inevitable wealth. Your future is not determined by the resolution you write in a notebook. It is determined by the 3-second decision you make with your next paycheck. Stop waiting for January 1st. You need to start right now. Open your banking app and set up that first auto transfer. Do not delay. Tell me in the comments the specific measurable action you are taking in the next 24 hours to enforce the 70-20-10 rule. Let's rewire this together. And remember, discipline today buys you freedom tomorrow.